principles of an aligned dance business. So, I am so excited to share these today because these are principles that have changed my life, and they aren't all widely known or widely accepted as being things that we're even allowed to include in our lives and businesses. But when we do, it makes all the difference. So, excuse me. I'm gonna just tell you guys a very little story, and then we're gonna get straight into the 5 principles. If you are here joining me live, please say hi in the chat, and let me know if you have any questions as we go on. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can leave any questions in the comments, and I will get back to you. So, my little story of how I got here, because I have worked for myself as a freelance dance teacher various times throughout my life, and I've also worked as a dance teacher for other people in different studios, in different companies, and only in the last, I'd say, maybe 3-4 years, I've actually applied these 5 principles of an aligned dance business, and now my dance teaching business feels really like it's flowing. It feels successful. It feels enjoyable. I feel like I never get burnt out or tired from it, and I know that a big part of that is from applying these 5 principles, because before, when I've done classes for other people, and even when I used to set up classes for myself, I didn't do it in a way that aligned with these 5 principles that I'm going to share with you today. And so while it was fun, often at the beginning, I would sometimes get to a place where I was tired, or also it sometimes was working better for me than for my students, and now have a really nice balance where it works for everyone. So let's get into principle number 1. Principle number 1 is health first. This is what needs to be your priority if you're going to have an aligned dance business. Now, you can have a dance business that doesn't put your health first, and it might even still be successful, but in my view, that's not aligned. Hi Veronica, lovely to see you here. Thank you so much for joining me, lovely. Please feel free to comment and ask questions as we go along. So, health first is principle number 1, because like I just said, if you don't have health as your first priority in your business, then in my view, if you're sacrificing either your physical health, so you're getting injured or you're getting ill or you're getting exhausted time and time again, or your mental health, so you're feeling like constant anxiety, or you're really starting to feel down too much of the time, or you're often feeling like you're always in competition with people. Hi Gian, I hope I said that right, or Jean. So I think that your mental health can also sometimes suffer when we're going in search of success and not putting health first. So I've seen both of those, I've experienced both of those also myself, of my physical health suffering, my mental health suffering, and also relationships. Thinking that dance must go above all other relationships in our lives. To me, that's not an aligned dance business. Now again, it might be a successful dance business in some people's eyes, depending on what your objective measures are. But for me, I got to a place where I just really recognized that actually I don't have to sacrifice any of those 3 parts of my health to have an aligned dance business and to be a really good teacher. I didn't have to sacrifice my physical health, my mental health, or my social health, which is basically my relationships. I didn't have to sacrifice Any of them I realised after, and so now these are priority number one, and they can be that for everyone. They can be that for everyone. And there's nothing special about me. Now, we're all different and unique, but there's nothing special about me that means that I get to prioritize my health and you don't. No, we all do if we choose to. But there's, I think, a lot of talk in the dance world around self-sacrifice, and that if you really love dance, then you will somehow sacrifice like your energy or your physical health or sometimes your mental health, or certainly sometimes it's assumed that you're going to sacrifice some of your relationships in your life, or your social time and that kind of thing. And I just don't believe that we have to, especially in the adult dance world. Now, I will just say that yes, there are certain things which are going to be different if what you're teaching is students who are going to become professional. Now, then will be some sacrifices involved in that, but I don't think that health specifically ever has to be one of those sacrifices. Maybe a bit of social time will be, but you can still have a very healthy social life and also still be pursuing a career in dance, I believe. That's going to look different for everyone, of course. So if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, health is not something that I would put above my dance business, or health is not something that I would put before my dance ability, then I am not the person for you, basically. Like, there are other people who are going to take you down that route of like sacrificing parts of your health for higher success or higher achievement or higher whatever, and that can exist, but that is not what I believe, and that's not what I'm going to lead people to. So I just want to make that really clear. Health must come first, because without health, eventually you're not going to be able to do the things that you love and the things that you want to share, and dance isn't going to be as enjoyable or as sustainable if health doesn't come first. So principle number one for an aligned dance business is that health comes first. Your health comes first. And of course, then when we talk about bringing that into the studio, the health of your dancers also comes first. The health of your dancers comes before their quadruple pirouettes. It comes before forcing them to turn out to 180 degrees. It comes before using fear and competition as a tactic instead of nurturing their mental health. To me, the way that I see what an aligned dance business is that the health of you as the owner of your business and the teacher in your business, and the health of your students always comes before the dance. It always comes before the dance. It always comes before the achievement, the performance. Health comes first. For me, that's in alignment with life because life is here to be lived, and if we don't have health, we can't do that to the full extent. So this is why, for me, health is number one, and anyone who wants to come into the academy, which I'll be talking about at the end, then that should resonate with you, because we are going to be talking about how to do dance business in a way that is healthy, that prioritizes health. And so if you're not up for that, then this isn't the place for you. As I said, there are other programs and ways of going into dance and teaching dance where it's all about the kind of external achievements. It's all about the dance level and whatever else, and the accolades and the achievements and the performances and etc. That's fine if you want to do that route, but that's not the route that we're going to be going. Health is number one, and actually you can have both. You can have health and you can have success, and you can have beautiful dancing, and you can have the students who are having a great time and all of that. So it can all go together, but health is number one. So I actually have been able to achieve this in my life, and I didn't used to, I don't know if I didn't think it was possible, but I just didn't used to really understand what prioritizing my health actually looked like. Like, I thought prioritizing my health was dancing more and more hours. That's what I used to think was healthy, because I also used to, like in my early 20s, equated health with how, I guess in some ways, like how strong I was as a dancer and how I looked. And now I realise like that has nothing to do with my health, but that is not the full picture of what being healthy means. Like health is a holistic thing. And so now I understand that being healthy involves having rest. It involves teaching the number of hours that work for me without having to compare that to how many hours other teachers are doing. And just making sure that my mental health, my physical health, and my social health is taken care of by my business model. And it's totally doable for anyone who wants that model. It's doable. It's just a case of figuring out what works for you and having the strength to not compare yourself, basically, and to not let other people who may judge a different way of doing things, to not let that put you off, and to stay grounded and aligned in what it is that you know is healthy for you, because it's not the same for all of us. Health looks different for all of us, and it feels different for all of us. And so this is why I love the Academy, because we get a chance to figure out what that looks like for each person. It's not just a one size fits all, because that never works. Okay, so that was principle number 1, health first. Principle number 2 is community care. Now, teaching isn't just about what you know and how you share it. And I know that the dance teachers who are presently here, I know that you guys are on board with that, because I know how you guys teach, and I know that you really also believe in this idea of that it's about community. It's not about trying to separate your dancers and like make them feel like they're constantly in competition with each other, and it's not about you I don't know, trying to make out that your classes are so much better than the other teachers. And you know, I know that competitive spirit, while it may have been present for you at different times in your life, I know now that the people who are here and the people who are drawn to the way that I do things, that we actually value community over competition. It's not to say that we can never have competition. Like, you know, there are ballet competitions which are enjoyable to watch and they're fun, and there's a place for that. But community care is one of the like foundational principles of an aligned dance business. Sorry guys. And that looks like different things. So community care means that we understand that having a really great dance business is about relationships. So it's not just about getting students to pass through the exams. Now that will come as a result of good teaching, but do you do that with having a good relationship with your students, or do you do it through fear or through threats, or through them taking some of the joy of dance away from them? So they work really hard, but there's been a cost to that. That's not necessary. Like, we know that it's possible to have classes that people both enjoy and work hard in. Those two things are not opposite. Working hard, when you have the right mindset, is fun. And so having really good relationships in your classes and with your students is something that works for you as a teacher, because you enjoy it, your students enjoy it more, and it's more sustainable. It makes the whole process more fun. And why wouldn't we want it to be more fun when it doesn't take anything away? It just requires us to remember that one of the principles is to actually care about the community. Yes, definitely. Thank you, Veronica. I'm glad you agree with that one. So it's also not only about in the studio for me. Like, when I talk about community and just placing care onto our relationships, obviously student teacher is really important. It's also important to give the students an environment where they feel comfortable also to talk to each other. Not in the middle of like, teaching an exercise, but it's that kind of environment where before class, after class, like maybe in the middle when there's a stretch or whatever, people feel comfortable and they feel like it's a community, not a competitive place. But then also between other people that you have to work with as someone who's a dance teacher. So do you have a good relationship to the other teachers where you teach, or the owners of the studio where you teach, or even like your accountant or whatever? Like the quality of our relationships affect the quality of our life. Having like a not nice interaction with someone, that's not the way I know that most of us want to live our lives. And so if we go in with the idea that not only are these people like collaborating with me so that I can actually get my business done, so I'm not just coming here to like, hire the studio and pay the money and whatever else, but like actually if I can make all of those interactions nicer and feel more like a community, and even like with my accountant and whoever else, that brings together my dance business in a way that gets to feel really good every day. And so prioritizing relationships and community care for me is one of the pillars that I know keeps my business in alignment and keeps it feeling good. Because if it doesn't feel good, even if it's successful, my question is that success then? If on the outside it's like ticking the boxes, but on the inside it doesn't feel good day to day what you're doing, or there's something that doesn't quite align with your values. So for me, that's why community care is also one of the foundational pillars. And so for me, having an amazing community in Madrid, so like the dancers who come to my classes, and then also online, which a lot of you are part of, these are things which I didn't, like I've learned this because of having it. It wasn't a plan actually to like build this online community. That is not how I started out. I actually was just sharing my journey, and then it started to become a community, and then I realized how important it was and how much we all loved it. And so then I actually deliberately fostered the community, first online and then also in my classes in Madrid. I started to realize how important that was, and so now it's very deliberate, but it was something that I learned not exactly by accident, because I've always placed importance on like good relationships with people, but understanding that actually it can then become more of like a community experience. And now, I go for, drinks and things, like I'll organise little things for my dancers, and obviously the Adult Ballet Holiday, the core of that is about community. So it was something that I realised that I was like, but I'm a dance teacher, so like who am I doing community stuff? But in the end, it is important, and if we want to, we can include that as something foundational to what we do. There's another part actually to this community thing, which is that for me it's really important that my business is also a positive thing in my community. So this is going to sound really basic, but like to me, I love being able to pay my taxes through my business. I know that that's contributing to the place where I live, which is Spain, Madrid. And then also something else that's important for me in terms of community, and I mean this in like the wider scale now, like the global community. Every year I offset my carbon footprint of my business, because for me it's these little things that just make me know that my business is also community focused in a way, like in the real physical sense of like the people, but also in a wider way, like. And it's, again, these are things that are doable for anyone. It's just whether we want to kind of take which bits into consideration. And there are many different ways that you can do this and make your business more caring, if that makes sense. Not only for like the students who are in your class, but also as a wider concept. And so there are so many ways to do it, and it can be really, really simple. But what it does require is that our business is financially secure, which I'll talk about in a moment, But having that as part of the foundation so that you feel really good about your business. It's not just like, oh, is my business going to be able to help me kind of pay the rent at the end of the month and whatever else, but actually, can I feel really good about what I do and how I do it? And that's really, I think that's important in a line business. Okay, did I miss anything there? I think we got it. Yeah, and as I said, like in terms of that, there are so many different ways to do that and different business models that can fit into this idea of community care. One other aspect for me about community care is that I have a business model which allows me a little bit of extra time to create free content, because I know that not everyone can afford my prices. So that's just a business model that I like, that works for me, because also I know that anyone who has access to the internet is able to also have access to me. That's the way that I choose to do it. And there are many different ways, like you can have scholarships, you can have lots of different ways, which we talk about in the academy. I won't go into them all now. But that can make your business feel really, really good to you. That you know that not only are you able to serve the people who can pay well for your services, which you deserve, but also that there are other ways that you can reach other people if that's important to you. Okay, pillar number 3, or principle, that your business is value driven. What do I mean by this? Your business will come into full alignment when you learn to work smarter, not harder. And this is something that I read a few times, I heard it a few times, and the first few times I was like, that cannot be right. Like, there's something wrong with that. Like, no, I know that success comes with harder and harder work. Just keep working harder and more success will come. That's what I honestly and truly believe for many years of my life. And so I thought that my success was going to be directly related to how much energy and effort I could put into something. And then I realized, after being tired and after suffering like different health stuff and other things, that no, where I direct my energy, that's important. And yes, of course, we'll all have to put energy and effort in, and of course there will be work involved, but I know my audience that I'm speaking to right now. You guys are not the people who literally like don't do anything, you wake up and you're not motivated to do anything, like you just can't even be bothered to like take a dance class or go and teach. Like, I know that's not you. I know that you guys are like me, we're hard workers. People in the dance world generally are, and especially in the ballet world, very, very hard-working people. So I'm not worried that I'm demotivating anyone here, but it's really important to learn the difference between when are you applying energy and effort into something that's not worth it and that's not going to pay off for you, and how can you start to direct your energy and effort into the things that really make change, that really add value to you and to your students. Those are the places to really put the energy and effort. And it's honestly, at the beginning, it wasn't that easy for me to distinguish where those places were. It took a bit of trial and error. And then when I actually got a coach myself, that made it way quicker, because she was like, think about this thing, and like, how about over there, and what's this doing for you, Natalie? And so that helped a lot. Having an outside perspective helps a lot, but you can also do it yourself by bringing self-awareness in. But that sounds super easy. Like, what I'm saying, I understand on the surface of it. It seems like, oh, okay, figure out which are the places where I'm really adding value, and then put more energy into those places rather than the busy work. Because it's really easy to do busy work, and posting on social media tends to be one of those busy work places for quite a lot of us. But that's usually not the place where we're really providing value for other people. That's not to say there isn't value in social media, of course there is. But the question is, like, is this post really valuable for people? Is it really valuable for my business, or am I just sharing it because I feel like I should be doing something, and so posting on social media is like a kind of a box I can tick? I'm saying this example because it was one of mine for a long time. But there are many like that, many like that. And so when we actually start to realize that the stuff that's usually really of high value in our businesses is usually the stuff that's a little bit more uncomfortable. Usually the stuff that's a little easier and more accessible and just kind of easier is the stuff that's usually less valuable. And so instead of spreading out our energy doing a lot of easier stuff that's a little bit less valuable, it's much better to save more of that energy and do the things that are uncomfortable and that really make a difference, and that often involve putting ourselves out there more, that might involve facing rejection, might involve facing criticism, might involve doing something differently, might involve being judged. But usually those are the places that you're going to find you're providing a lot of value for much less effort. Like the effort in terms of going over the hurdle of discomfort, that takes a push. But after that, it's way just less energy in general. Like we spend so much energy being business owners. I know, because like I went through that for so many years, and now I realize like not exactly that I was wasting my time, because I learned a lot from it, but now honestly sometimes I think like if people could see my day-to-day life, they'd be like, she's not doing that much. And I do obviously do things, but I really try and make them of high value now rather than just busy work. Okay, I've blabbed on quite a lot there. Let me just bring it back into what I really want to say. Where's the value in this? We all have so much value to share, which can come with ease and flow because you've already spent years dancing and communicating with people. So even in the studio now, sometimes, I don't know if you guys ever have felt like this in the past, but sometimes because I had this link between hard work and value, and that's not a natural link. Instead, value is like a very specific thing, and the outcome is dependent on what our students want from us. That I sometimes thought that the more tired I was after a class, the better I taught it. And now I realize, like, hell no, like that is not a correlation at all. Sometimes it might be, but often it's not. And so actually taking the focus of how I feel and onto how my students have received that, how has that experience been for them? And like, I know this sounds really obvious, but it's interesting that it can still sneak in. If we have that link between basically valuing ourselves and how hard we work, if we have that internal link, it's a really difficult one to start to separate. And for me, it's taken a few years, and it's taken support to get through that, because that for me was one of the really deep core beliefs that I had, which was that if I'm not working really hard, I'm not worthy and I'm not valuable as a person. And so this one goes much deeper than it sounds like it does when I just say work smarter, not harder. Because I think a lot of us in the dance world have this story of like, a good person is the person that works the hardest. A good dancer is a dancer that works the hardest. So that programming, it takes a little while to just decondition it, and we actually have to start to experiment and have different evidence come back to us. Because if you might be listening to me right now and thinking, Natalie, you're totally wrong. Like, I've got so much evidence that when I work harder, I get better results. And again, I'm not saying don't work hard ever, but it's way more important the how you're directing that energy than just the amount of energy output. And it's more nuanced, so it helps to talk about this individually with each person, because we'll all be putting our energy into different things. Yes. Did I miss anything here? It basically requires us relating to ourselves in a new way, and to listening to what other people value. That's really important, because not everyone values the same thing. Like, not everyone in my classes values hard work as much as I do, for example. Some people value different things in their ballet journey, and that's okay. And it's my job as a teacher to actually hold space for people's different values within the same class. Okay. So, did I miss anything here? No. when we're in alignment with our skills and experience, we don't need to overwork anymore. Like, this is what I've realized. This is like has been my journey over the last few years, but like especially this year, the last like 12 months, I guess. Now that I've come into full alignment with my skills and my experience, and I don't know why I was so scared, guys, because I'm quite a courageous person in general, but obviously like we all have fears, but I really didn't realize how much I was holding myself back by not coming into alignment with my skills and experience, and always thinking like I had to be doing something else or learning something else, instead of being like, well, what do I already know and what can I already share? And I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always learning other stuff as well. But even just to step into that place, things are so much more flowing now because I'm drawing upon years and years of experience and skills that I developed. And you already have those. Like, you already have those. And you can still keep on bringing in other things, learning other things, like expanding, adding another thing over here. Absolutely. But you already have so much hard work behind you and so many skills and so much experience that you get to start slowing down now a little bit. And it doesn't mean, that doesn't necessarily mean like slowing down everything, but you get to create more space in different places and then really go like full speed ahead in the places where you're really bringing value and people are like super excited about what you're talking about and what you're sharing and what you're doing and what you're teaching. That's what I mean by slowing down. Slowing down in the other areas and creating more space. So we do, this is really a key part of the academy as well, which again I'll talk about a bit more at the end, but having that support to go through this journey, because it is so like, it's so scary because this is tied to our identity. So to just start working less hard does not feel good, like I can tell you. It does not feel good at the beginning because we judge ourselves, we call ourselves lazy, we say awful things to ourselves in our heads. No one else would ever hear it. And this is related to principle number 1, where I'm holding myself back from actually like being in full health because I'm overworking myself. And I'm tired and I'm not giving myself the space to rest. I'm not giving myself the space to enjoy the things that I've already created. I'm not giving myself the space to really fully be excited about all my classes and have time for creativity and like to choreograph or like to do my podcast or to create a new offer or whatever else it is. It doesn't feel good at the beginning, which is why it's so important to have support and guidance through that journey. Like for me, I started doing it before I worked with a coach, or when I worked with a coach. For me, that was like the big, like I was able to really push through that block. And it'll be different for different people. Not everyone will have such a deep workaholic thing like I did, or like that is tied so much to your identity. But if it is, like, it's so helpful. It's so helpful. Okay, number 4. Learning to receive. I said I would come back to the financial security point, and this is it. Learning to receive. You deserve abundance. Like, we all do. We all do. And one of my missions is to help other people realize that and then allow themselves to receive it. And there's so much to say on this, and there are so many mixed emotions that come with thinking of like allowing ourselves to receive financially, receive more than someone else. Like, there's a lot of feelings that go with these topics, and so this is why for me a coaching program is so important in these things, because it's not just enough for me to say like charge more for your classes if you can, but provide more value to your students, but charge more because you provided more value. That is not going to help if you've got blocks that say, I don't deserve to charge more. Like, it doesn't even feel safe for me to charge more. Like, it feels greedy, or it feels whatever else. Then it doesn't matter what I say, because you won't be able to implement it. And like, I've lived through that as well. And it's amazing how much I used to think I was a logical person, and now I realize like nearly every decision, if not every single decision that I've ever made in my life, has had a big emotional component as well. So if you are someone who believes that you cannot have something until every other person in the world has it, then you're never going to allow yourself to be abundant, basically. You're never going to allow yourself to be abundant, and therefore you're never going to help others to become so either. And that's a really hard thing to hear. But it's kind of this, like, imagine if we did this with dance for a second. And imagine if I thought about dance, like, oh, I better not get better at dance until other people are like exactly the same level as me, because like that might make them feel bad. Imagine if I actually danced better than someone else, how much that would hold myself back, and then I would never be able to be a dance teacher if I would never let myself be better at dance than someone else. Well, that is the same thing with finance. Like, you have to start to allow yourself to receive more as a dance teacher if you would like for there to be more abundance in dance, which for me, like, this is one of my missions, because dance is an important part of human life. It's important, and dance is a place that deserves to have more money in it because it is important. And once dance teachers start to understand that, we get to lead the way in that, and there are already people doing it, which is amazing. But I want to share this message further with more people. And I think that because lots of us as dance teachers have been through really hard times financially, like I know I have, I know lots of other people have as dance teachers. As dance teachers, we sometimes have like a strained relationship with money. And that causes us to assume that everybody else also has a strained relationship with money. And so we assume that our students like don't enjoy paying for our classes, because that might have been our experience at some point of like not wanting to pay for stuff because we were really struggling financially. But a lot of our students, not that I'm saying like they love paying for our classes, like please let me pay, but lots of people have a good relationship with investing in themselves. We might not, but other people do. Other people like, yeah, just got paid like my monthly salary, whatever, and I'm paid for my dance classes for the month, and like I feel good about that. People do have that relationship to money, and so just because we don't doesn't mean that other people don't. And you might not be one of those people, by the way. I'm speaking for myself and for thinking of other dance teachers I know who have that more like strained relationship with money, but not everyone has that, and so we don't get to decide for them. Well, I go a lot more into the academy, but I'm realising what time it is and I want to finish all these principles in good time. So, it's taken me a really, really long time, but I now have prices which are fair, have prices which people are happy to pay, and I have people who enjoy working with me and they enjoy what they receive in return for what they pay me. And I have like financial models which I know that I'm taken care of. That is important because then I get to do better work as a teacher. And you know, I even know that some of my students who come to my classes, like it's a bit of a stretch for them to pay for my classes, but they do because they value it. They value it. And it's not my job to decide what other people do with their money. Like, I know because people have told me, like, your class is the thing that I look forward to every single week. Like, this is what's in my head on a Monday morning. It's my ballet class on a Saturday. How do you put a price on that? I mean, again, of course we have to put a price on it. But, like I said as well when I was talking about community care, for me it's important that I'm taken care of financially, and then in return, like as a thank you for being in that place, like I also have free content for people who can't afford to come to my classes or don't want to pay or whatever. This is a model that I like and that works for me. And like I said, there are other models, but this is the one that I've chosen and it works really well, because then sharing value in different ways, but I'm receiving well, because I need to take care of my health, I need to feel safe, I need to have security, and we're allowed to have that as dance teachers, and we can. Okay, number 5, we made it. Number 5, principle number 5 is setting up for success. So we hold ourselves back by not being able to commit to systems and to support, which allow more space and time within our business. Oh my goodness, this was me for the longest time. We may even feel limited by this type of structure. We are only interested in embodying like the flowing water of the river without the riverbanks. But without riverbanks, this is like your structure, your systems in your business. Without the riverbanks, that water that especially crazy people and especially dancers, like I know, we like to be in that flow state. We like to be in the like creation place. We like to be in the like preparing our classes or creating the exercises or like even telling people about our classes or a new thing that we're doing or whatever. Like I love that stuff. I love that stuff too. But I've learned to love the systems and the structure too. Because as I was saying, like in the river, you can't only be the water. Because if you're only the water, and this comes back to the energy thing as well, without a structure, you just spread it out like that. And then the water doesn't go anywhere. Like the water cannot run, the water cannot flow. And so it's really important to have structure and systems in place so that your business is always flowing. It's always abundant, it's always going somewhere, and it continues to be successful. And a big part of that is putting systems in place. And I know that this is not sexy or exciting, but it's necessary. And actually that's what creates that security as well in terms of finance as part of that too. So I resisted this for so long. I wasn't ready to commit to my business actually for a long time because I was scared of failure, and I would set up classes that I wouldn't fully commit to them. I would be like, I'll see how this goes. And so, I mean, people came. Sometimes I'm like, how have I even managed to like get away with so much of the stuff I've done without putting systems and things behind it? And I think when you are someone that does put a lot of passion and energy into things you do, like things come back, that energy does come back to you. But oh my goodness, when you add in the systems and the structure to that kind of energy, stuff really starts to happen. Like stuff really happens. It's quite incredible. And so there are so many systems, there are so many kind of business models, there are so many things that people can implement. But the mistake I made when I first was like, okay, I'm ready to actually implement some systems, ready to take my business seriously, was that I tried to implement too many. I actually got over like businessified, that's not a word. And then again, I fell back into the old trap of spending too much energy on too many things and not streamlining. So that is a little trap that we can fall into when we start to put in business things. Like we can be like, I have to have the automated email stuff, and I have to have like the social media things, and I have to post this many times, and I have to like whatever else. Like I have to have like Stripe, and I have to have PayPal, and I have to have this business account, and I have to create this, and like my website has to be here, and I have to. No, you don't. The first thing, I'm going to keep the first thing. Because I go into it in the academy. But just know that there are so many different business models and ways of doing things. And the most important is that you know what ones you need specifically for your business and for the success of your business, and to keep your business in alignment with your lifestyle and your health and what you want to create and how you want to serve people and how you want to bring value. Because there are so many, and you don't need all of them. Like, you really don't. Sometimes people ask me, I've had people ask me like, oh Natalie, but to be a dance teacher and like do the things the way you do I need to have the following that you have? Not at all. In fact, most people in my actual Madrid classes didn't follow me on Instagram when they came to my class. I don't think, like, a really small percentage, maybe like 5%, maximum 10%. So like you don't need a big following, you don't need to have, when I say systems, that's not the kind of thing I mean. I mean streamlining things so that you have less to do on a monthly basis. Some things are automated, some things are more streamlined. That's what's important. Okay, I think we're nearly there. Yes. So, the Academy is open for applications. This was all to celebrate the launch of the Academy. And the Academy is a 6-month coaching program for aspiring or current dance teachers. And we're going to do much more of all of the things that I've spoken about today. We have a mixture of business and teaching sessions, and then also mindset and embodiment sessions, because as you've heard today, quite a lot of this stuff is emotional work as well, and embodiment work, so that we actually feel safe to implement the teaching and the business stuff. It's not enough to just know it, honestly. It's honestly not. So most of you probably already know a lot of it, but if it's not being implemented, that's not because you're silly or because you're lazy. It's not. It's because there's an emotional thing blocking you from doing that, or because there's still a limiting belief that says, like, I don't deserve to do this, or I can't do this, or what if this happens, or that it doesn't feel safe to do this, etc. So that's why the Academy is made up of all of those things. I wanted it to be really, on the one hand, practical, and also really transformational. Like, these two things are the foundational pillars of this Academy, because I'm not just giving you, like, here's my business model, go and take it and replicate it. No. That isn't what is going to work for a lot of people. And even if it does work for people, it's not going to feel aligned. So I'm not interested in that. Like, I will share everything that I've done, of course, because it does help to have examples, real examples. But this Academy has group coaching specifically so that I can speak to you guys about what it is that you need, and what it is that you want to set up, and what it is that feels good for you, and what does success mean for you. And so we have 3 sessions a month. We've got our business/teaching session, we've got our embodiment/mindset session, then we've got a group coaching session. And then it's 6 months, and we go through all I'm not even going to go through the pillars. I did another video with all the pillars inside the Academy. There's 6, obviously, because it's 6 months. But I'll have the link down here. If you are joining this month, this is like doors opening this month, May 2022, you are going to get my Perfectionist course for free, and you can start that like as soon as you join the Academy. And I'm going to have all the other details linked in the description. I'm going to have price, etc. If you feel like you want a bit more dance teaching experience first, or you just want to figure some other things out, but you're interested, like, drop me a message and we can have a chat. And doors will open each month, so you don't have to join now, but now is the time that it's going to be founder's price, so it's the cheapest that you can join for. And also, like I said, I'm going to give the Perfectionist course for free if you want to join this month, and then after that it will be just a little bit more expensive and you won't get the free course. So that's it, guys. It's gonna be on Tuesday evenings. I'm in Madrid, just so you can figure out what that time zone is going to be for you. That will be our live sessions, but if you can't make them all live, it's not a problem. Everything's going to be recorded, so if you need to miss something, because this is a 6-month thing, I'm assuming that at some point people are going to have other things to do on a Tuesday evening, so you can always just join. You can watch the replay. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you so much everyone who's been here. I hope this was interesting. I hope it was helpful. I hope you can take some of these principles and just do kind of like a check-in of your business, and are you including these things. Thank you so much, Veronica. Thank you for staying for the whole thing. You are the best. I'm so grateful for like your support. You've just always been so wonderful. Thank you, mother. I hope that we get to dance together one day soon. And that's it. Thank you for watching the replay. As I said, leave me comments, questions down below, and I will get back to you guys. And I hope to see some more of you in the Academy very soon. Bye, guys.